Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. This video is about an approach to autumn sewing, and it's a little bit different than normal because I haven't made anything, haven't got anything to show you. I have got some plans to show you, but they are not entirely cast in stone because I have decided to attempt to finally crack having a more, what's the word? Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to follow this book, and it's called The Curated Closet. So let's say that I'm attempting to have a more curated closet. It's not sponsored or anything. This book came out about 5 years ago. I bought it when it came out. It came out to great rave reviews, and it's supposed to be a sort of step-by-step guide to help you get a wardrobe of clothes that works for you. Not about following fashions and trends or, anything like that. But what I can't speak for you, but what I would like to be able to do is to open my wardrobe doors in the morning and, depending on what I'm doing that day, be able to grab things that I know are going to fit, that I know are going to work together, that are going to be comfortable. And at the moment, what often happens is I've got a bit of a mishmash going on. So I just thought that I would share it here because I wondered if, for starters, has anybody done this and got this book before? It's by Anushka Rees. Yes, as I say, I bought it 5 years or so ago. I completely lost the copy of this book, so I had to rebuy it. And in rebuying it, I realised that there is now an option for the Curated Closet workbook. I don't know whether you can jump directly to the workbook and use that, or whether you need to read this first, but I decided to get the main book first. And I thought it might help me to weed out the bits and pieces or the clothes that I'm not wearing. I do have the issue that my size has changed. I feel the book only arrived yesterday. I've only read the introduction. It seems to be focusing a lot on things like quality over quantity and not necessarily following trends as such, but going with your own personal style. Not that I'm suggesting that I'm some uber stylish woman at all. I just want to be able to not have to think about what I'm wearing every single day. I'm quite happy to put the work into it in advance, but then for it to be seamless. And especially when we're sewing our own clothes, because we can spend hours and hours making something, and even when you finish making it, you might still love it. But if it's not really going to work with other items in your wardrobe, or it's not quite you, it may not get worn. And I'm going to show you an exact example of that. This morning, just before I started this video, I have been off to the osteopath. And because I knew I was making the video, I wanted to make sure that whatever I was wearing today was all me made. So I put on these trousers, which I haven't actually ever shown you, but they are basically the Steven trousers from O's Patterns. I made a version which I have talked about in a slightly darker green, and these are a tapered version. That's why I've not shown it to you, because I've already talked about this pattern. And I put these two on, and I put on this shirt with this William Morris print, and I put it on over the top because whilst it's sunny out there, it's a bit chilly. It's typical early autumn, doesn't quite know what it's doing weather-wise. And I thought, oh yeah, I like this shirt. I did a pretty good job of it. I really like a William Morris print, and if I just wore it over sort of almost more jacket style, that would be great. And there's nothing wrong with this. But what I found was that just at the point I was leaving my house to go to the osteopath, which is a journey of approximately 1 minute, she's just a few hundred yards from my house, I found myself taking the shirt off. And that's because it's not really me. I love it. It's the sort of thing I would love on someone else. but there's something about it that's just not me. But because I made it, taking it off because I'm a bit hot, because I made it, and yeah, as I said, did a pretty good job of it, and there's nothing wrong with it, and to all intents and purposes I love it, this has been in my wardrobe ever since. I think that was probably about 2 years ago, and I reckon I've worn it maybe 3 times. So there's no point me having a wardrobe full of these kind of things, spending the time, the effort, the money on the fabric and the pattern if I'm not really going to wear them. So if you fancy kind of coming along for the ride with me, I will put a link to the book in the description box below. You might have it, you can probably get it from the library. As I say, I have no affiliation or anything to it. I just thought that it might be a good way of helping. There seems to be a lot of emphasis on quality over quantity. And I think that although obviously they're talking about shopping and they're talking about not impulse buying and getting caught up in the sales and all the rest of it, for starters, I think the quality element still applies to sewing. We can all get very seduced by inexpensive fabric and think, you know, we can all go and say, oh, well, let's buy a load of fabric that's £5, £6 a metre, and you buy lots of it and think twice about buying something that's £12 a metre or even £20 a metre. But that garment might well be something that's better quality, that you've thought through more carefully and you're going to wear more often. So I still think it applies. And also, let's be honest, very, very few of us who sew only have me-mades in our wardrobes. I decided, I think it was in January, to stop beating myself up with that and allow myself to go and buy clothes if I wanted to. And certainly when it comes to winter, I have quite a lot of things that I haven't made because it's cold and I do love a jumper. And my knitting's not quite at that standard. And so a lot of my knits and things are things I've bought, and I have made jeans on and off over the years, but at the end of the day, the jeans that are my go-to are, again, ones that I've bought in the shops rather than ones I've made. I've told you this before, they're not cool, they're not trendy, but my favourite brand for jeans is Sainsbury's Supermarket. £16. Anyway. So, yeah, let me know what you think. As I say, I've read the introduction. It all sounds really good. Let me just read. I did kind of bookmark literally the sort of opening page because I thought it might explain why I was drawn to this. It says, Curated closet is a wardrobe that's perfectly tailored to your unique personal style and your life. It contains everything you need to feel confident and inspired every day, no more and no less. It is not based on trends, style typologies, or a one-size-fits-all of wardrobe essentials. Your life isn't the same as somebody else's, so why should your closet be? And that called to me. I think it could be really good. So that is what I'm hoping that I will be following kind of step by step. The next stage, as I understand it, is going to be kind of immersing yourself in inspiration. I haven't yet read it. It only came from Amazon last night. So that's what I'm going to kind of do, and I'll report back next week on how I got on. In the meantime, couple of plans, but they are not cast in stone because I'm not going to commit to anything for sure until I've at least started this process. But this is what I think my first couple of things are going to be. When was it? February, was it? There was a thing, a meet-up in Yorkshire called The Gathering that Sam and Ali had organised, and lots of us got together. And while I was there, I met lots of people and we went fabric shopping. It was all fabulous. While I was there, one of the people I met was a lady called Becky. And Becky, it was so lovely of her, Becky gave me this fabric, and it's fabric that had a lot of sentimental attachment for her. It is a really, really beautiful quality tweedy suiting. So can I put a note here because because I wanted to make sure I remembered what it was. Where was I? Somebody was at the door. Right, so my note here says, this fabric is from Becky. It's 35 years old, suiting given from her much loved stepfather, no longer with us, and he's somebody who had all his suits made. And I don't know, she's very, very generous because there's a lot of it. It's obviously really nice quality. She gave it to me because it's green, and she said green's not her colour, but she knew that it was mine. And of course, like anything like this, it doesn't just have one colour in it. So there's different shades of green and then a sort of tan mid-brown colour in there as well. So I really wanted to make sure that initially I've been a bit scared to use it because I feel like it was very special to Becky, and I feel very honoured that she passed it on to me, and I didn't want to ruin it, or not ruin it, but I just wanted to make sure that I used it for something that I was definitely going to wear and that was going to be successful. Let's hope that works. Yeah, and as I said, there was quite a lot of it. So what I want to make with it is a blazer, and for the last couple of years there have been a lot of the trend has been oversized blazers, and I've got a couple of oversized blazers actually that I have bought, and I've found that I haven't really worn them a lot. They kind of drown you a little bit, and going back to this whole thing, I'm not entirely sure that oversized look is my style. And the one I've got, actually I'll tell you what, why don't I show it to you? Okay, I wanted to just see what size it was. So it's a size 40, which is the size I should be now. Yeah, I bought it from COS. And as you can see, it's almost a bit suity. I mean, this is supposed to be my size. Look how big that is. I mean, the shoulders are good, like an inch, 2.5 centimetres off the edge of my shoulders. But you know, it may be the trend, but I've come to realise it's not me. But also, because it has that kind of suity blazer feel, I feel it feels a bit formal, and I know the idea is that you can wear your blazer with jeans and whatever, but I found that I haven't really worn it a great deal, and I think it is going to go to Vinted. But I do like the idea of a blazer, but I just don't want one that feels that formal. So I feel like what I'm going to do is use this, because definitely more my kind of colour, and as much as it might seem a bit odd, I feel like tweed, because it has more kind of country vibes to it, feels a bit more casual. And I want to make the Jasika blazer from Closet Core Patterns, because that isn't oversized and it is more fitted. It's not, I think they call it semi-fitted. You know, it's not super cinched in at the waist, and then, you know, it's not a Dior jacket. But it has got more shape to it. And as much as that may not be the trend, although having said that, since I've decided this, I have seen a couple of articles saying that more fitted blazers are coming back in. Anyway, maybe it's because I'm looking for it. But yeah, so I want to make the Jasika jacket. I have planned to make one in the past and then didn't see it through. I think you have to be in the right mindset for something like this. It's a bit of a slow burn, isn't it? They take a while to make, and they talk about using speed tailoring techniques in this, which I think I will find very interesting. I know I will enjoy that. And then to go with it, I ordered this lining fabric from Fabworks because I thought the colours would work, because it's also green with kind of brown or more gold in it. And it's one thing I like about Fabworks over in Yorkshire is that a lot of their linings are not synthetic or acetate. You know, I think this one has, it's either all viscose or it has a lot of viscose in it, and I prefer that. not just to sew with, but also just to have against you. But I feel that, yeah, the colours work really nicely together. Yeah, hopefully that picks up. So that's something I definitely want to make. I'm going to hang fire just a week or two, see how I get on with this process before I commit to it, just in case. I'd hate to be halfway through making it and then have some realisation that there's something else and much better that I could be using this fabric for, because as I said, I have got a lot of it. But in theory, that is the plan. And then the other thing that I bought recently is, you know, I made the fabric Godmother Peony dress not so long ago to go to Queenie's graduation. And I said that I wanted to make a winter version, and I was thinking about needle cord, and I have bought some brown needle cord from Leon's, my local fabric shop. It's going to be interesting to see how successful it is, because that pattern has quite a lot of gathering around the hem and also on the sleeve, and obviously as much as it's needle cord, it is a good deal thicker than the prescribed fabric. So we'll see whether that works or not. I haven't yet reconciled quite what to do about the sleeves, because it's like a 3/4 length sleeve. I think it's one of those where the end of the sleeve before the gathers is supposed to hit where the waistline hits on the bodice, which I really like that. But if we're going into autumn winter, the one thing I know about myself is that I don't like to have short sleeves in the winter. So I need to either just continue the sleeve down and make it long with no gather, or I don't know, 3/4 length and then the gather. I'm not sure, I haven't yet worked it out. Added to which, the only thing that I was unhappy about with that Peony dress, and that was with a bit of hindsight, was that because I'd made it out of fabric that had an obvious wrong side, I don't like that thing where you can see the inside, because it's a fluttery gathered, you know what I mean. You can see the inside and you can see it had an obvious wrong side, and if I could go back I would have lined that, self-lined it, just doubled up the fabric. And again, because this is already going to be thicker, do I want to be doubling that up and making life harder for myself? But I just don't like seeing an obvious wrong side. I don't know whether Fabric Godmother have anything on their blog about it, because I would imagine I'm not the only person that wants to make a winter version. It's been an incredibly popular pattern. I really liked it very much. This fabric also has a little bit, just a tiny bit of widthwise stretch, which I will ignore for the purposes of sewing, but for the purpose of wearing will just give it a little bit of ease, which is always nice because we like to be comfy. And then last but not least, the lovely Monty from O's Patterns has got a bit of a kind of sewing, it's not really a challenge, but a sewing thing going on with her Arvo shirt pattern. I've made a couple of her patterns now, and what I have particularly loved about them is her instructions. She is somebody who's, you can tell, has a proper fashion background, and her instructions are fabulous, but her techniques feel as close to professional techniques as you're going to get. And she provides a tutorial on YouTube. Yes, it is French speaking, but it has English captions, and they're proper captions. You know, sometimes you put the English subtitles on and they don't entirely make sense, but they're good. Yeah, I really, really like her instructions and her techniques. So what she's doing is a bit of a kind of, yeah, she's sharing inspiration, and it's a bit of a sew along that's going on. If you are somebody that wants to make shirts and you haven't done, this might be quite a good one to do, because there'll be, I think, quite a lot of hand holding, and yeah, she's sharing inspiration on her Pinterest board and that sort of thing. This particular shirt, the Arvo shirt, is one that has a bib front, and there's a couple of variations. You can either have it blouse length, I mean you can have it any length. You can have blouse length, shirt length is a bit longer, and then dress. The blouse length one, the buttons only go to where the bib is at the front, and the shirt one, the buttons go all the way down. There are 2 or 3 different collars. You can do bias binding around the bib front. Yeah, so I'm really, you know how much I love a shirt. I love a shirt, I love her instructions. I couldn't really say no, I had to do it. She is doing a thing where people are sharing their makes on the 15th of October. I don't know whether I will get mine done in time. I don't want to give myself that pressure. And I haven't yet decided what I'm going to use fabric-wise for it. But I am thinking, I did buy this, by the way. We had a bit of a Dewsbury over in Yorkshire meet-up just before I went on holiday. Went to see the lovely, lovely Manjit at Lucky Fashions in Dewsbury. If you're ever in that part of Yorkshire, go and see her. She makes you a cup of tea and has a lovely chat. One of the fabrics I bought was this, which is a cotton sateen, and I bought it specifically because I thought I could make a nice shirt out of it. But I'd like to somehow honour that bib front on the Arvo shirt. I'm thinking, and I haven't yet gone and rummaged through my fabric, I am thinking of using it, making it with lots of different scraps, because, you know, with a shirt, obviously you could have one fabric for the right side, one fabric for the left, and the sleeves in different colours, and the plackets. It's got a nice looking placket on it, and again, if something like making a shirt, a cuff, placket cuff, is something that feels a bit intimidating, that's why this could be a good one to do, because it will walk you through it. Again, not sponsored or anything, I just really like her instructions. So that's something I'm planning to do. And yeah, if I can make the odd bits of fabric I've got upstairs in my daughter's bedroom, under her bed, are those 2 of those, you know, those big pull-out drawers. They are full of random bits of fabric that are too big to throw, but yeah, we've all got them. So I'm thinking that's what I'll do, a sort of scrappy version of a shirt. I will enjoy making that. I will probably do that first because that will be a nice post-holiday sew for me, and I can do that whilst simultaneously sorting out my wardrobe and going through the process of this book. So yes, bit of a different video, not anything to show you that I've made, but I just wanted to sort of set up the next few months in the right way. Hopefully I've cracked the code. I will have cracked the code on how to get myself this beautifully organised wardrobe. Who knows? I've certainly tried, you know, there are apps that you can get. I've downloaded those in the past, you know, where you can take photographs of everything in your wardrobe and combine them into outfits. I mean, after taking about the 3rd or the 4th photo, I've given up because it's way too much like hard work. I can't, it's no use me pretending that I don't have lots of things that I've bought in shops that I haven't made. So I'm going to include some of those things. Well, I've got to include those for my wardrobe. Obviously, I'll try to focus more here on things that I have sewn and things that I'm going to sew, or I've got holes in the wardrobe, not literal physical ones. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think hopefully it will work out, and hopefully I will take you along the way. If anyone else wants to do it with me, please let me know. We can swap ideas and kind of, you know, perhaps keep ourselves inspired or motivated to keep going. But yeah, that's where we're at. In the meantime, don't forget that competition is still going on. The final date is not until the 14th of October, and that is to win one of the Serious Readers HD floor lights. I'll put that link in the description box below. That's all there. All the terms and conditions are there. But don't forget that, because that is a really nice prize to get for whoever wins it. Yeah, that's me for this week. See you next week. I will report back on how I've got on. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.